should be sort of transposed into the formal negotiations. That's backtracking. If we're going to discuss, is it 2 degrees or is it something else? Is it this MRV language or is it something else? Is it $100 billion per 2020 or is it something else? I believe that would be very unfortunate, because then all the discussions would be up again, and then what we actually cashed in Copenhagen will be sort of wasted. And I would also fear, honestly, that some would really lose their patience with the international negotiations. So I think that it's rather crucial not to backtrack. And that's easier said than done. There were formal negotiations in early August in Bonn, and my experts and negotiators who were there, they came back and said in some areas we actually backtracked. The text needs to shrink, for instance. The number of options, of course, needs to shrink, but instead, for each time they meet, the text is enlarged and there's no more options are coming there. That's not the way you can have a substantial progress in results. Why is it so difficult to formulate a financial sort of setup? Well, if I should be very, very brief, I think it's because there is too much mistrust built up over too many years. For instance, in the relationship between the donors and the recipients. The developing countries want to take care that the money that would be given, aimed at, targeted at adaptation and mitigation efforts in their economies, that they have a say over this money, because it has to be integrated so much with their development plans. So there is this fear, if it's only sort of donor-driven, where are we then? And that could be taken care of, but it's just there are really a lot of mistrust. And that's why I believe that when we come to Cancun, it's crucial that not only Europe, but the United States and Japan and others actually deliver on our fast start pledges from Copenhagen. As a Maldivian ambassador to the UN said to me some months ago, somehow the money you are promising us, they are always just around the corner. How nice it would be soon to come around that corner. And I think that should be by Cancun.
Thank you. You know, I look at the number of individuals at each microphone, the amount of time we have, and the long division suggests that questions and possibly as well, if your responses can be concise, then we can get through maybe all of you. Thank you.
I'm Paul Harris. The comparison was made between climate negotiations and trade negotiations as being very long-term. And my question is, do you foresee at some point that there might be an organization formed similar to the WTO to deal with climate issues?
I think any comparison to the WTO is a nightmare for those of us who are dealing with climate change. So I hope not. I believe that although it could be tempting to say